Well, let's start. Mr. Miller, can you let everybody in? Okay. I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Route of egress. In the event of an emergency, all people may exit right or left from this room and proceed to an exit door. All doors will open from the inside. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Haledon Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the North Jersey Record Herald News, the board's official newspaper, on January 15th, 2025. Notices of this meeting indicating date, time, and place were posted publicly on the door of the main entrance to the school and filed with the clerk in the municipality of Haledon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Serna?
Yes.
Mr. Coletta?
Present.
Ms. Quadrado?
Here.
Mr. Guzman? Mrs. Johnson? Here. Mr. Martinez?
Here.
Mr. Moxell?
Yes.
And
Here.
Mr. Ramadan?
Here.
Mrs. Zissa?
Here. Okay, can I have a motion to approve or accept correspondence?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Ms. Quadrado. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Serna?
Yes.
Mr. Coletta?
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson? Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Moxell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zissa?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept prior minutes?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Serna? Mr. Coletta?
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Moxell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zissa?
Yes. Okay, can I have a motion to open the floor to citizens on agenda items only?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Can we do all in favor?
All in
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the floor is open. If anyone would like to address the board on agenda items only. Anybody, Mr. Miller?
No hands.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the floor?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's move on to committee reports. Okay, so I will begin. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I want to talk a bit about a school board's role in moving its district forward and assisting in all areas of progress. As we all know, a school board is meant to govern over a district, which basically means we set broad policies and strategic direction while management or administration carries out those policies in day-to-day operations. Understanding that each board member may vote yes or no to any agenda item, I want to remind my fellow board members once again that we should be voting in accordance with our strategic plan. Elements of any 5-year strategic plan may become dated or perhaps have already been achieved, and a district may look to pursue other areas. But in general, all the main goals on our strategic plan are broad and relevant enough to pursue at any time. In order to advance those goals, we need to allow the chief school administrator and school administration to manage the related operations. If we tie their hands by voting down qualified and extensively vetted employee candidates, researched and recommended programs, and reasonable and competitive expenditures, amongst other things, we are not doing our job. We are, in fact, interfering with and hindering the process of carrying out day-to-day operations. This amounts to a waste of the district's time, energy, resources, and expenses, not to mention that of external stakeholders. If we don't have staff in place to teach our students, we will have to hire subs who are never ideal for long-term purposes, or hire specialized staff from agencies or vendors, which will surely cost more than a salary, and they wouldn't even be our employees. Moreover, what message does it send to our parents and community when our board is voting down qualified candidates at competitive and reasonable salaries in exchange for subs or vendors? And how much are we damaging the district's credibility by voting down candidates who have been thoroughly vetted and approved by the school's administration, but then can't get past the board? That kind of news travels within fields, and people may just stop applying to Haledon Public School. And then what? And what about all the advisement and literature and training from NJSBA and directly from the mouths of our fellow board members from across Passaic County and the state, and from school administrators themselves, stressing how important it is for boards to have a good, trusting, and collaborative relationship with the superintendent and school administration, if only to advance the district and best serve our students, who are our #1 stakeholders. This doesn't mean that we trust blindly or that we don't ask questions. It means starting with trust in the professional, it means starting with trust in the professional knowledge, experience, and judgment of our school leaders, and going from there, asking questions and taking into account their answers. I am humbly asking my fellow board members to please think carefully before voting no on any given agenda item, and weigh carefully all the potential consequences of that vote. It shouldn't be taken lightly. If we tie the hands of our chief school administrator, we are doing a disservice to our students, and that is not okay. Let's please work together with our CSA and the administration to strive to make Haledon Public School the best district in the county and in the state. Our kids deserve that. Moving on, we had a wonderful 8th grade graduation last week, and I want to thank Vice Principal Mr. Spizzato, 8th grade advisors Ms. Fazzini and Mrs. Cumberton, and all the teachers and staff who worked hard to make it a memorable event for our graduates. We had a unique situation this year with 3 students tying for the position of valedictorian. All 3 gave meaningful and heartfelt speeches and words of encouragement to their fellow classmates. It was a lovely evening, and once again, I congratulate the class of 2025. I want to thank Ms. Tara Capello for her service to HPS as one of our pre-K teachers for the past 2 years. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Lastly, I want to thank Mr. Waka, the administration, and all our teachers and staff for another successful school year. There were ups and downs, but in the end, students learned, grew, overcame challenges, and had some wonderful experiences along the way. I wish the entire HPS community a healthy, safe, and happy summer. So that's it for me. Before I turn it over to Mr. Waka, does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, actually, I do have one.
Okay.
What triggered this comments right now, as far as what you're saying, as far as this service to our student, because we turned down certain, we voted against certain things.
Okay, so it's a fair question. So I'm sure you all received the letters that Mr. Waka had forwarded us that he had to send to those 2 LLD candidates. As he explained at our meeting, at our last meeting, those are highly specialized staff, highly specialized teachers. Their salaries are going to be more than other teachers. We have to be competitive. If we want to fill those positions, we have to be competitive. Now we have to start from scratch. Now the administration has to start all over again, because now we're down 2 teachers, we're down 2 positions. It's July, it's almost July. Why were those? I don't understand why those 2.
If I could jump in, my
We're gonna
report's
redo the
gonna
whole
touch,
meeting?
my report's gonna touch upon both these comments, so perhaps if I can give my report, that might eliminate, is that okay
Okay.
with you?
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay,
I have one.
Okay.
Madam President, I think it's highly inappropriate of you to sit here and lecture the board, who are all duly elected members. We are not elected to vote as you see fit or as the strategic plan dictates. You are elected to vote based on your conscience and based on the things that you feel are right. I'm not gonna sit here and be lectured for no reason. I can vote however I want, and everyone else here should be too. If Mr. Waka extended job offers before asking the board whether or not those job offers are gonna be, that is an error that happened on Mr. Waka's part. Just because the previous iterations of this board have constantly just said yes to every single thing that was brought before him, that is not our problem. If that's how you feel you want to be a board member, that's how you feel you want to be a board member, but that doesn't go for everyone else in the room. It's very highly
I'll
disrespectful
address that.
to sit and lecture every single person because they didn't vote the way you felt they should vote.
Okay, so, well, okay, fair. It's not about how I want you to vote. It's about how a board is supposed to support the administration so that they can do their job. The resources and the time that were spent finding those two candidates, just an example, finding those two candidates now have all gone to waste. And it doesn't favor us that we couldn't pass those two highly qualified candidates, highly vetted. And when we had our ethics training in January, Mr. Merlino explained that the position of the board is to support the administration and to help them do their job, their day-to-day job. We're not here to get involved in everyday matters. Yes, we vote. And that's how the process goes. First, the administration does their search, they do their interviews, they do all the vetting, and then the board has the final say in the approval. They don't have to come to us first and then extend. They can't extend it until it's approved.
Wasn't that what happened?
Well, that's what it's always been. I extend the contract, but it's pending the board approval. So like that's gonna happen everywhere. And then, the board can choose to say yes or say no or abstain, right? That's
Yeah,
how it is.
it was just in response to Mr. Coletta's comment that Mr. Waka shouldn't come to, he should come to the board first before offering. He didn't offer it. You have to make an agreement that you can come to the board with. Otherwise, there's nothing to bring to the board. We have to be supportive of our administration and we have to start from a place of trust. And like I said, it doesn't mean that you trust them blindly, but you can't vote however you want. I mean, there has to be a basis to it. There has to be a good reason for voting
We've been
no.
giving you the reasons for the past 3 months.
I'm sorry?
The past 3 months, we've been giving you the reasons. We've been asking for things and you constantly ignore them and then you talk about trust.
It's not for me to provide these things. I haven't interviewed these. Mr. Waka provides those things and he answered those questions. He answers the questions. He provides the information.
Madam President, I think
Yes.
she's talking about the audit that we've been requesting.
We still have to hire people whether the audit's here or
Oh,
not.
yeah.
We can't stop business because of one thing.
We did not hire, we constantly hire. So that statement right there. don't
No,
make
but for
sense.
that specific, those
But-
2 specific jobs that have been out of since November,
Yeah,
One
let me
was
give my
November,
report, if it's okay with you
Since
guys.
October or no?
October, November, that's a long time not to
All
have a
I'm
teacher.
asking,
We need to
Since
hire a teacher.
October.
We need to have a teacher.
all I'm asking, it's not meant to be a lecture. All I'm asking is for board members to please consider before you vote no, and before you decide, well, we're not gonna go with the recommendation that of heavily vetted, interviewed, qualified candidates, just think about the consequences of that. Just think about how that will play out. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you how to vote. I would never do that. I'm asking you to think about how it's going to play out and just consider it and think of all the consequences. That's all I'm asking. Okay, so I will turn it over to Mr. Waka.
So I'm gonna give you probably the longest superintendent report I've ever given, and I'm excited about it, 'cause I put a lot of thought into it. But first, I wanna say we have 2 guests here tonight. One's a Hailden grandparent, so that always makes you a VIP guest. And the other, for the first time ever, my lovely wife Maureen is joining us at a board meeting, and I'm very happy she's here. But the real reason is because our son is actually in Japan right now. And so we have a short window where we can be like single parents again. So after tonight, we're gonna head right up to Newport, Rhode Island, and start a little like Airbnb vacation thing, which my wife planned for us. So that's the reason she's here. It's not because she just wants to see
I've
me.
been one other
Yes.
time before, just saying.
Thank you.
Never have.
But-
to see you.
But we got 2 VIPs tonight, so thank you. So I want to start things off on a more micro level, then kind of expand to more macro level issues. The first thing I want to bring to the board attention refers to the requests we have had for usage of facilities for local sports programs that are for-profit and those that are non-profit or not-for-profit. The request we had discussed the last few months about the Royals baseball and softball program to use the fields was sent to the policy committee. And I sat in there with Mr. Coletta and Ms. Eason, forget who else was there. And the policy committee reviewed the guide that we have that informs us how much each program should be charged when they request the use of facilities. For the baseball program, the Royals, they were informed by me over the weekend that we will consider them a Class 2 organization as per the chart that was the board had approved, and as because they are nonprofit. As such, the use of the field would be $150 for each time the facility was requested. I stated this to the Royals baseball director, who was a former student of mine, and this was not a price they were comfortable paying. If they can get a better field for a better price elsewhere, then that's totally understandable, right? Like that, why would it not be? Therefore, as far as I see it, this issue has been resolved, and the only teams that will use our field area, the grass field area next year, will be our middle school softball team, our middle school girls soccer team, and our middle school boys soccer team, and then the kids using it just during recess. So that's the way it's always been, and that's where we're going to go. But that brings another question. Now, I had, for some reason, thought that the local soccer organization that we were allowing was using our gym as a local nonprofit. It was brought to my attention, maybe it started out that way, but it was brought to my attention that last meeting by a board member that perhaps this was not a nonprofit. It was brought up that it may very well be a for-profit organization. As such, I've reached out to the director of the local soccer organization, who quite ironically, I also coached in soccer when he was a freshman at PCTI. I was the boys freshman coach. And I've asked him to clarify if he's running a for-profit program or if he's running a non-for-profit program. I've informed him that if he's running this program for profit, then our policy 7510 states verbatim, the use of school facilities will not be granted to commercial or profit-making organizations for commercial or profit-making purposes. That couldn't be any clearer, right? In that event, if they come back and they say, Chris, we're for profit, we're not going to allow that organization to host at HPS, their facilities at HPS, because that would go against our policy. If it turns out that they say, Chris, here's the proof that we're nonprofit, we're not for profit, then they will need to pay a $450 fee for each time they wish to use the gym. If they wish to come twice per week, then our fee will come to about $900 a week. And if they want to use it for twice a week, every week, that'll be about $3,600 a month. That's like more than most mortgages, right? I can't imagine that it will be cost effective for that organization to do that. But at the same time, if the soccer program is for profit, then anyone else looking to, build the soccer club and generate funds out of it, right? They would have to find the site as well and pay whatever the overhead or whatever the rent would be. I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I know it's summertime, the first week of summer, sometimes communication can be slower. But I do appreciate how they interacted with our students. I do appreciate how they kept our gym clean. I appreciate how they use the equipment, and we're always respectful. But if they're for profit, then this is what we're just going to have to do. Now, we do have another group that uses the facilities and is not charged. This group is the Boy Scouts. And this begs the question, why is it that the Boy Scouts get to use the facility for free? So I looked it up, and Jeff could probably back me up on this, but in 2002, the Boy Scouts of America Equal Access Act was passed into federal law, and this law requires that all schools that receive federal funding must also allow the Boy Scouts to use their facilities for Boy Scout meetings.
And girls.
Oh, so I was looking at
Scouts too.
Oh, you ruined my whole next thing, Jeff.
No.
So what I was gonna say was that I couldn't find a law that shows the Girl Scouts also get that privilege, but I imagine as a board, if we gave it to the boys, we'd want to give it to the Girl Scouts. So if the Girl Scouts ask to use our facility, we're gonna look to say yes, because I think that's the right thing to do. But you ruined my punchline, Jeff. The third thing I want to talk about is what's going on this summer at HPS. We have 4 programs running concurrently this summer. Our summer camp and the Certified Angels program, and I went to the Certified Angels gala the other night. It was lovely. And our kids were the kids that were dancing, and they dominated. They absolutely dominated. But Mr. Torito and Mrs. Cabrera, she has a new last name, that respectively do a great job setting up a lot of great things for the kids in the summer program. And the Certified Angels and our summer camp, they both run at a profit, a slight profit for our schools, so it's a great service we could offer. Next week, we will begin our ESY program for students with special needs. And this is a federally mandated program, and we'll also begin our BOSS program. Now, I really like the BOSS program. I think it's a great free service we offer to our families. And hopefully this won't be the BOSS programs last year, but this was a COVID program. It was not supposed to kind of stay as long as it has. We did a good job, I thought, maximizing our reserves, so we could give a truncated version of the BOSS program. And if state aid works out in our favor, then BOSS hopefully can continue, but it's going to be a year-by-year thing moving forward. Now, let's talk about personnel. You'll see on the agenda that we are seeking to hire 2 teachers that are replacing an art teacher and a retiring second grade teacher. I've spoken about breakage the last few board meetings, and the board has requested that we include the salary of the position that is being replaced. I want to thank Lois for helping to make that adjustment, and you will see that the art teacher we hired sees about a $3,600 in breakage salary in our favor. Additionally, you'll see that the second grade teacher sees about a $36,000 breakage salary in our favor. These 2 hires combined result in about over $40,000 in breakage, but it's actually probably even more savings to the district than that, because I know that of the 2 employees that are leaving, one of them clearly was on the family insurance plan, and it just cost more. And then one of them was on the husband and wife's insurance plan. So it looks like the 2 people that are coming in are going to be in an even cheaper insurance plan. So this agenda item sees very positive breakage for the district. We're going to keep looking for 2 special education spots that are not filled. It's very likely we'll need to procure a vendor for at least one of these spots. I'm negotiating now with someone for one of the spots, kind of stuck at a certain number. And I may or may not get it, but it's just that the market value for highly specialized special education teacher salaries is higher than it is for other spots. That's just the reality of it. You see, we have a preschool spot that is open due to Ms. Capella resigning, and that really won't be very difficult for us to find a hire for that position, and we're going to get the hire at a very positive cost for the district. But it's just that the highly specialized special education certs are going to be more difficult to procure. If we have to, we go to a vendor. We'll pay more through the vendor than we would have paid. But there's still 60 days till the start of the school year, wherever it is. Like, there's a chance we can get somebody. So we're going to hope that happens. Lastly, I think it's the sign of a healthy district to always look to have some type of project on the horizon to address infrastructure. Because when you neglect that for too long, it's never a good thing. In the past year, we completed a major expansion project. And I remember, a lot of people in this room were there, but when I interviewed for the CSA position, there was 4 rounds of interviews, and in every round of the interviews, the question came up, what are you going to do about overcrowding at held in public? What are you going to, like, that was the one question that followed me through every stage of it. So the fact that we were able to cut the ribbon on the expansion project we just did, and the fact it looks lovely was a really good thing. We also this year completed a brand new playground overhaul with rubber carpeting and inclusive playground instruments installed throughout the park. And I firmly believe this was well received by the community, because when I go home from work, I walk past the playground. There's so many more parents this year that are playing with their kids in the playground than in the past. And I think it's because the play equipment is better and the surface is better. It's just a nicer place to be. And I think that, if you ever come after school and you see how many parents are there with their kids, it's been a good thing. And I think the board was really wise when they said, let's hire one staff member to be there from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock most days, just to make sure if someone has a problem that there's, a staff member there to help them out. And I think that's made for a better user experience. Currently, we have 2 projects underway this summer. We've started the remodel of the front entrance to buffer the security of the school. I think school security, and I noticed this in the evaluation that the board gave me, that's something that I think everyone in the district feels really comfortable that we're doing a really, really good job at. But I think this will even buffer that and augment that level to another level. This project is also the reason, though, that we can't use the front doors this summer. So our de facto parent/visitor entrance will be by the 5th grade wing. It's kind of on the closer to the Lee Street side of the building. Bill was kind enough to work with our custodians to move the security officer's desk and computer, and we put a phone out there for him, so he could call either the main office or he can call the whatever office that a vendor might come through or a parent might come through to get the parent or whoever's connected with where they got to be connected to. And Jenny was also kind enough to put up signs around campus to direct visitors to this temporary location. But like I said, we opened the Angels today. We opened the summer camp today. No problems in the morning. Everything worked out pretty well. The other project that has begun is an HVAC upgrade in the rooms in the center of our building that do not have windows that face the outside. This includes 2 classrooms and several offices. This project will allow air to come directly from the roof, then be processed by the HVAC machines, and then be filtered down directly into those classrooms. This has been an issue that I've been wanting to fix since I got to Haledon Public, and what Lamika and I, and before her, John Sarapecki and I would do, we make what's called the long-term facilities planning list. We identify all the projects we want to complete now or in the future. And this was always a priority that we wanted to touch, but it was never like the top priority. Other things kept going ahead of it. But I'm glad now that, because these rooms do get a little bit warmer and they don't get the same level of fresh air flow as the other ones. Lamika and I met when Jermaine met with the HVAC installers. We asked them, we said, listen, we know how much the teachers want to come early in the year and set up their classrooms. Is there a way you could do the classrooms first and then the offices second? They said, no problem. They have their own porta-johns, just like the people in the front security, they have their own porta-johns, so they're not going to be there's really going to be no interaction between vendor and employee and Haledon employee and student. It's just, they're just doing the work that they have to do. But I've been wanting to fix that for a long time, so I'm super happy that's going to get fixed. Now, the other problem we're looking to address is the piping issue. Simply put, these pipes were installed a very, very long time ago, and they've gotten very old. If you want me to, if any board member wants me to send you pictures of what these pipes look like when they dig them down, like it's really gross down there. This past year, the pipes became more and more of an issue, and we've had to get it fixed we need to get it fixed once for all, because the threat of like the pipes bursting, especially if it happens on a Sunday, is really something that scares me big time. You'll see that we're looking to begin this process of addressing. I'm sure Lamika will talk more about it in the finance and physical plant portion of tonight's agenda. And my last item is that I want to share that I've received my yearly summative evaluation from the board. I think it was a fair evaluation. I believe that we may get more in depth about the evaluation during an executive later, but I do want to publicly address 3 important points that I noticed from the evaluation. It was stated that the board would like to see continued academic improvements for ELA and math at each grade level. I think that is the exact sort of thing a really good board member would want to see, and I agree that that's something that is also very important to us and our staff. We should get the results of last spring state tests probably in a couple of weeks now. And so once we get that, we're going to extrapolate the data, we're going to share that with the board, and then eventually we're going to come to a board meeting and we're going to say, here's the data we got, here's what we're looking to do to keep moving forward. The second part of the evaluation I want to comment on is the board asked to have a standardized exit interview to give to staff that are leaving us. I happen to think that's a really good idea. I will look to work with the administration team to create a standardized exit form or exit leaving form that we are comfortable with, and I will then share the draft of this document with the board so that individual board members can give input. I expect that by September, when we start the new year, we will have this document completed, and then if teachers, unless they're retiring, then we know why they're leaving, right? But if for someone that's leaving, they're non-retiring, we can give them that, and I'll be happy to share their results, verbatim with the board once we get that settled. The third thing is that the board is asking to provide more fiscal and budgetary information. That's fair, and it's something we've already look to start doing, and we're now actually doing, because you look on the agenda tonight, you'll see the departing teacher salary as well as the incoming salary on the board agenda. That's something that not only have we not done in the past, but I can't imagine very few districts in the state of New Jersey do that, right? So that's a level of fiscal transparency that we're providing that I don't think very many people do that. But this is something that the board asked for, so it's something that we did, and Lamika and Lois worked together to make sure that happened, and now it's going to become the new norm. And lastly, I want to thank all the board members for taking the time to complete the evaluation. I evaluate two superintendents. I evaluate the Verona superintendent, and I evaluate the Northern Educational Regional Service Provider superintendent. And I know that when you do this form, it's not like a 5-minute click thing. It's something you have to sit down and pay attention to. So I appreciate the feedback, and I'm going to use it to keep being better. So that's my report tonight. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Any questions for Mr. Walker? Okay, thank you. Let's move on to our business administrator, Ms. Augustin.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. So we discussed already about the staff efficiency analysis. It is on the agenda today, resolution 12.22. I had the opportunity to meet with a gentleman who has done this type of analysis at several districts. I didn't even realize we had them right in our back pocket when they came to, they worked with Manchester for the master schedule 2 years ago when one of our administrators was out, and they were able to do some, he was able to do some reworking of the schedule to better fit the student needs and also the district needs. So we're going to be using this gentleman not only for that, also to look at all the staff members from soup to nuts, also looking at how we can move forward in the future for next year's budget, 26-27. He also will do a presentation, and he did request that. I know we discussed last meeting about making sure that the data is pure, and I said that to him, and he said that it works best if it's that way. And then I think we discussed in the finance team, once the results are available, we will look at it, and then we'll look at it together, and then if there's any committee that wants to meet afterwards, that data will be shared with them to see how we move forward. So that is, as soon as we're ready to go, he can start. And he said it will probably take about 2 to 3 months to extrapolate all this information. Okay? Great.
If when the board, he called me, I said that if, as long as the board's cool with it, I'll give him, the same master user access that I have for our student information system. So he can just go in, see what he wants. I said, do you want to come in and do an office? He said that, he doesn't think he's gonna need that, but if he needs to, then he'll do that.
Yeah. On the agenda also is our HVAC bid opening that we had. That is resolution 12.2. As you can see, we had 3 bidders, and the lowest bidder was Central Pac. So that is part of Mr. Walker's report today. They will start a different section of the HVAC on selected classrooms. We also have our domestic pipe that is we're actually going to reject the bids because 2 of the vendors, we had 3 lowest bidders. 2 of the vendors were not in compliance with the New Jersey law, so we have to reject their application. And the 3rd lowest bidder was overbid, so we're rejecting it for 2 reasons, and primarily because everything, the 3rd lowest bidder, which we would have choose, is over our budget.
Why would they apply if they weren't gonna comply with the laws?
Well,
So,
they were new
if I can add,
vendors.
yeah.
They were new
So
vendors.
they're new companies and they have really good references.
Yeah.
But they haven't done public works at this scope yet. So the state has a division of consumer affairs that does vetting of all these public works contractors and approves certain dollar amounts.
Mhm.
These 2 are still pending and they haven't been approved for
Nice.
this high. So they should have known that they weren't approved for this much of a job yet. They've done it privately, but not publicly.
I see.
Yeah, so they're in their applications.
So a year from now, they could qualify.
They
If
could,
you rebid,
yeah.
they could, it could be.
Okay. The other items that we have is our professional services. These are the RFPs that we went out to bid in the month of May, 12.4 to 12.7. Tonight, we're appointing the security services to Arrow Security. Our school physician is Allied Medical Associates. The auditing services is Wilcox and Company, is our same auditor. They were the lowest bidder. Our architect services, DeCaro Rubino. And the only one that's not on here is legal services. That was a little bit more, I received several applications, so I'm still going through the process. We are going to, I'm going to put a grid or a worksheet up for you guys to take a look. This is more of an important one, not that all of them aren't, because this is your board attorney and you guys can, have an input on that part. Okay, so I'm not going to, make a recommendation there. That will be for you guys to decide, all right? And then the last thing I talked about was the 12.22 and the other resolutions that are on the finance agenda has to do with curriculum software renewals. We have our child study team tuitions and other services, and we also have other professional services that will be renewed for this year. If anyone has a specific question about any of the resolutions, I can try to answer those right now when it comes to the finance.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for the pipes, so the 3 were rejected, so does that mean that we're gonna put out the bid again?
We are, I had that, I'm sorry, I didn't say that, July 16th is scheduled, okay?
There are a lot of companies that have to do that.
Yeah, there's not. So there's not a lot that do this.
Okay.
So hopefully one of those two will get approved for this scope by the time we go out to rebid.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a significant difference.
Well,
It
yeah.
was in there, and I think they just would like to be in the school district, but they do have to get their
Because
papers
the one came in
together.
really cheap. It looked like. So,
The low bidder did work
Yeah.
at Manchester. It just what it was.
It
and they
wasn't
did
a
great
smaller
work, but it was
capacity.
smaller.
Smaller
Could we
capacity.
chop the project up in half?
No, we can't say.
Can't?
Thank you, let me for clarifying the reason, because I was a little confused, because the letter said it was like, material defects.
It is a material defect.
They need to be qualified for that amount.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, so I
That's
was
the,
thinking
that's the
literal
language.
material.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
that's
wait,
the
wait, wait,
language,
wait.
the verbiage. Yeah. Yeah, that's the verbiage.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, thank you. And
Any,
that's,
any other questions?
Oh.
Chair, I have one question for the project of the future project that Mr. Walker presented as far as the pipes and
Mhm.
AC. All these, there's money allocated for that already.
yep, I was ready for you. I had it right up.
Is it a
Yeah.
capital project? Right.
Yeah, all the projects are in the budget from the HVAC, the fire alarm, boiler, pipes and the HVAC. So all of them are there. Here you go.
And they're not considered capital, right?
Huh?
None of them are considered capital projects?
These are all capital
Capital, okay,
projects. Yes. Mhm. All right.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Ms. Augustin.
The fire alarm company.
You got the right hook.
Okay. So now let's go to the committee reports. Just go through quickly. Personnel and Management, Mr. Martinez.
Agenda items only.
Curriculum and Technology, Mr. Ramadan.
Agenda items only.
Policy and Public Relations, Mr. Coletta.
Nothing for this meeting.
Security and Safety, Mr. Coletta.
Agenda items only.
Community Engagement, Ms. Quadrado.
Nothing on the agenda. Items only.
Finance and Physical Plant, Mr. Motzko.
Went over the bills and Madam BA went over most of the items anyway, so agenda items.
Okay, State and County, Ms. Quadrado.
I just wanted to point out, if you guys got the email on June 17th, there was a report on the daily clips about the New Jersey residents that paid more than 18 million in school taxes last year alone. So you were able to see where we stand on that, and it's a pretty good pricing comparison to some of the other schools, if you guys look at that. The school board, for legislative updates, school board supervision mentorship pilot program was approved by Senate and the Assembly Education Committee. The epilepsy and seizure disorder training was also approved and passed by the Senate and approved by the committee. And then IEP meeting guidelines and working groups was also approved. And the IEP meeting is just providing guidelines that a parent must receive certain information 2 days before their IEP meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Merlino?
The only thing I have is under 7.4 is the recommended extension for Mr. Waka. As we discussed, it's recommended, it's a model employment contract. There's been no changes to that other than just adding the 3 years at the end. Again, as was recommended to this district for prudent fiscal and strategic planning purposes. But that's it. There's no other changes to it. I don't know if there's any questions of the board about that, or if we can wait until the person.
Mr. Marlino, just a question. I thought one of the points says it's already maximized the 5 year, they reached the 5 year capacity or the maximum allowed.
Correct.
So how are we bypassing that?
This gets back to the 5 years. So we can't go beyond, we can give an extension up to 5 years. So you can never have more than 5 years in total.
But has it been given before?
It has been, so this is a recommended practice. Like I mentioned, the county superintendent recommends this practice because she thinks it's fiscally prudent not to get to the end of it and negotiate a brand new contract. The market is, we've talked about personnel and market prices have changed. She thinks this is fiscally prudent to do it this way, to extend it at the end, rather than get to a new contract.
A couple questions. Number one, reading over that item itself, can you tell me the date it was submitted to the county for approval? Or what date was this sent to the county?
Jeff probably.
Yeah, so I submitted after that first meeting.
It's impossible. That's not possible. It can't have been approved before the actual meeting.
The first time we talked about it, it's not
The,
approved, it's
the
recommended.
the first meeting, according to this, what's here in front of me, says this was approved on May 13th. The first executive session that we had was June 9th, where it was discussed.
She brought this in. Ms. Drakeford spoke to me before in April, and when I spoke to the board the first time. I'm trying to remember if you were at that first meeting.
We had a few people missing at the first two that we talked about it. June 9th was not the first time we talked about it. Let me go back to the meetings. The first time we talked about it, and I think it was an executive session, if I'm not
It was,
mistaken,
yes.
Mr. Marino, was, we had two meetings where you explained this whole thing during executive session before June 9th. So the meetings would have been
It would have been
April 30th, and then May 21st was the second time that we talked about it in executive session.
So it was after the April 30th meeting.
And then June 9th was the third time that we talked about it. Well, actually, I mean, we didn't talk about it with you, Mr. Merlino, but
Or we spoke.
We spoke about it twice. and I
So
thought it was
April 30th was the first one.
And you said there's no changes
That was not in-
to the contract. Is there a raise involved in the contract?
There was just, so there's no raise for the initial years, and it's just adding on, extending it with the same.
Mr. Merlino,
annual rate.
I'm asking you a specific question.
The 3% raise
Yeah, I
each
know.
year, yeah.
Thank you. There is a raise that is attached to it per year. You're also exhibiting to the board stating about market rate has changed. You are absolutely correct. The neighboring district, which has similar size, just hired a principal superintendent. It's making less money than our current chief school administrator. So you are correct, the market has changed. I'm very uncomfortable that you're presenting it in a way that seems disingenuous, where there is a raise. It is not no change. There was a raise negotiated. It was being presented as if there was no raise. It's being extended for not the first, I believe the second time. It could be the third time that the contract is being extended. And this is not a personal attack on Mr. Walker, because we've had conversations plenty of times. I like Mr. Walker. I think he does a good job. This doesn't seem that it was handled very professionally by the two individuals who led this out. And it's very upsetting to the board, and I'll speak only for myself, so I'll take that back. It's very upsetting where, again, it seems that decisions are consistently made prior to there being a consensus of the elected officials who were elected to do this. So now we're in a position where potentially everyone's not in agreement and make everyone look stupid at a board meeting in public, because now we have to all go and vote on something where there wasn't a consensus publicly made.
If I may, like this, to address Jeff and the board president, like this originated with me, you know, I really love being at Hampton Public School, like you can, Jeff's been probably in a million different superintendent searches as the attorney for his districts. He knows I haven't applied anywhere. You can ask Kathleen as well. I haven't applied anywhere else because this is where I want to be. You know, you're right. It's a continuation of a contract. It's not a renegotiation in terms of like, you know, I'm not asking for any additional dollar bonuses. I'm just asking for the contract to continue. And, you know, I really hope you guys say yes. That's all.
The question is that, on April 30th, we had executive, on May 15th, we had, the retreat, so we didn't talk about any of that. So May 21st and June 9th were the two meetings that we spoke about. This was already approved based off of this contract on the 13th of May, which means it was approved by the county before we even discussed it. So why was it that we were going into executive and wasting time and having conversation if you were going to do it anyway? Without anybody saying yes?
I didn't
April
approve,
30th.
send anything to the
April
county, but we
30th was
did
the-
talk about it at April 30th
April
and you were
30th.
there.
Right, April 30th was the meeting.
Somebody
again-
would
And we
have to-
discussed it again.
On the Nobody- 21st
To
and
get
on
to
the
get an
9th.
approval from the state, we don't need our consensus. It's just
This is-
asking for the approval from
They-
them.
Someone
They
in
need
this
to
room
review
had
it
to say.
first.
I
So,
understand.
so Ms. Drakeford called and she recommended this.
That is not her duty to call you
It's
and
not.
say to give personnel recommendations. That is not her duty at all.
Mr.
You have to
Molina,
talk
can
to
you
her,
tell us
and then you have to
what,
bring it up with her.
Yeah.
But
Then she should
but
be here,
she-
she can talk to her
she
herself.
she reviews budgets, so she was reviewing your budget before it was, but I guess the user friendly was posted into the newspaper. She said that it was, again, I'm repeating this is what I brought to the board on April
Can I
30th.
stop you for a second? Can we move this to an executive section instead?
We could, yes,
I
if there's
prefer
any, if
that.
you want to talk about personnel, yes.
Probably it's, if everybody agrees.
We should not.
Want to do it to the end though?
I'm
Want to
sorry?
wait to the end and then do it? Or we have
I
to.
mean, it might not be
Oh.
problem to discuss it
Conversation for
publicly.
Whatever you guys.
well, is,
What's on the agenda, right?
I mean,
No, I
is
mean,
this
it is.
anything
I
that's
know, but,
privy? Is anything here privy that we are discussing?
Well, personnel, like if there's a personnel discussion.
Right, and Mr.
Then it
Buck
always
is-
for executive.
Okay, well, that's fine. If you want to move it to executive session,
If anybody agrees on that.
They have to make a
Because
motion.
but then we
should-
have to make the vote.
They have to make a
because
motion.
we might need to go over the contract, maybe discuss it, the clarifications are available right now since Mr. Martino is in the house.
Then what do we do with the
Anybody
vote? We
sees
table it
otherwise.
until executive
So
session
let's go to executive first, so we'll just do a motion to go to executive.
for right now? Okay,
First,
all right.
everybody agree with this?
Well,
idea?
somebody
Somebody
make
has
a
to
motion.
make a
Motion.
motion, make a
No,
motion.
no, I'm saying,
We're making a motion.
Motion to move it to
Second.
executive.
For
Okay.
purpose of personnel.
Moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Coletta. Roll call, please.
A second to catch up. Okay, so we're going, this is. Just give me a second. So I'll just use this right here. All right, let's go. Ms. Serna?
Yes.
Mr. Coletta?
yes.
Ms. Quadrado?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Moxell?
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zissou.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we will take,
Want me here or not?
should Mr.
You
Watkins
you
stay?
have the right to be here.
Oh, because it's personnel.
Does the board want me here?
Yeah. if you
Okay,
have My agenda.
We're on.
Okay.
George is in the gallery.
Oh, he is? Mr. Miller, can you,
We're good, we're back.
and Mr.
He's there,
Guzman is
yep,
there?
yep.
Great, okay. Okay, so. Okay, so personnel and management, Mr. Guzman. So
You
we're
hear us,
at,
George?
we're at the,
Okay.
okay,
Go ahead,
Mr. Martinez, go ahead.
Let's move 7.1 through 7.9, please.
Second.
Can I have a second?
Second,
Moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Matsko. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Turner,
No to 7.1, 7.4, and yes to everything else.
7.1 and 7.4. Mr. Coletta,
With respect to 7.4, my vote is no. It's due to the way it was handled rather than towards Mr. Walker. Yes, everything.
Ms. Quadrado,
I'm going to respectfully abstain from 7.4, yes to everything else.
Mr. Guzman. I don't think he can hear us. Mrs. Johnson, I'll come back to you.
Okay. Because we can't table it on 7.4, I don't think this was done properly. So, I'm gonna say no, 7.4, yes, 7.4.
Mr. Martinez,
A lot of people think that this wasn't done properly. I've been doing this for a while. It's not about doing it properly. I'm gonna vote yes. It's
Okay.
about fiscal finances, money. It's not personal.
Mr. Matzo,
gonna vote yes, except 7.4.
Mr. Ramadan,
I also seek a verification on 7.6 first, please.
You have a question?
Yeah, he can't.
Okay, what is your question, Mr. Ramadan?
7.6 verification stipend.
That's a contractual, collectively bargaining agreement thing where if they have a certain amount of days where they're not absent over a certain limit, then they get that.
Okay, well, with respect to those, I vote yes on all of them.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes, on all counts. Can we go back to Mr. Guzman?
sure, Mr. Guzman, is he available?
Mr. Guzman, can you hear us? Oh, he
Yes, how we're doing? I was having some technical difficulties. Greetings from Mexico. My vote is yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay. Curriculum and technology, Mr. Ramadan.
Motion to move 8.1.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ramadan, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado.
Yes.
Mr. Guzman,
Yes,
Mrs. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Moxell,
Yes,
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, security and safety, Mr. Guzman.
I'd like to move the items on the agenda, please.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Guzman, seconded by Mr. Coletta. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman,
Yes,
Mrs. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Moxell,
yes,
Mr. Ramadan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Issa.
Yes. Okay, finance and physical plant, Mr. Motzko.
like to move 12.1 through 12.31.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Motzko, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Turner,
No to 12.10, everything else is a yes.
Mr. Coletta,
Yes.
Ms. Quadrado,
I'm gonna abstain from 1231, purchase order 500, 431. And then yes, everything else.
can I just, Ms. Serna needed to abstain on one of the PO
She didn't tell me
numbers.
the PO on the. She didn't tell me which board.
Reimbursement.
Travel.
It's 501-109.
4.8.
And actually, well, let's finish this roll call and then I need to tell you something.
Okay. Mr. Guzman,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mr. Maxwell,
Yes.
Mr. Ramadan,
So let me get just verification for the company that's gonna provide the services for the evaluation of the services and employment. Does it present any conflict of interest with the school?
no,
Do they have any affiliation with us?
he does not have any affiliation with anyone here.
Any services they provide to us beside this, in other words?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Are you aware of something?
No, I'm just saying.
Just
I'm asking.
just let me know.
I'm asking if I can, they want to
No.
present a conflict of interest.
No,
So, yes,
Mrs. Issa.
Yes, and I just want to go back to 10.1. I believe Mr. Guzman needed to abstain on that.
Was that the security?
Yeah.
That's the health and, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The cops looking in and everything.
Yeah, I'm okay with abstaining, Madam President.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Okay. So new and old business. Does anybody have any new or old business? So I was going to talk a little bit about the initiatives that I had circulated. You know, this has been a really heated meeting, and I think it would be best if I push this to the next meeting, just so that we can come at this from the right place. I think these initiatives are really good. They're really positive. They're things that we can all work on together. But I want to come at it from the right frame of mind, and I want everybody to be in the right frame of mind. So I'm gonna bring it up at the next meeting. So that was the only thing. Let me make sure if there's anything else I have for new and old business. No, nothing else for new and old business? Okay, so we'll discuss. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You had mentioned the ad hoc committees, and are those already picked out, like the ones that we were missing?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just, I mean, we can talk about it if you like. I
just wanted to, okay, that's fine, we'll talk about it.
We talk about it in July, and you know, there's no time frame on these, there's no deadline. These are all things that we can work on, you know, as we go along. Maybe I'll send everybody the committees, you know, via email, just so that if you want to meet for the July meeting, before the July meeting, you can. But we'll see. Maybe we'll just leave it for July. Okay. Okay. So let's open up the floor to citizens. Can I have a motion to open the floor to citizens?
Second.
Okay, so I'll say moved by Mr. Martinez and seconded by Mr. Coletta. Roll call, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the floor is open to citizens. Just a couple of ground rules. Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to address the board. So we'll start with people who are here. If anybody would like to address the board. No? Anybody online, Mr. Miller? Okay.
Motion to close?
Okay.
Second.
Motion to close, moved by Mr. Martinez, seconded by Mr. Coletta. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we do have we do have an executive session matter to review. No action will be taken. I'm saying like 15-20 minutes. So can I have a motion to move into executive session?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Motzko. All in favor?
Aye.
You'll be here for that?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam President, please.
Yes.
Real quick, prior to going to executive session, I stated that you had authorized sending the attorney to send the contract for review. I was proving that that did not happen, and I just wanted to say on the record that that did not happen, and that I apologize for accusing you of something you didn't do. If someone else did it without the authorization, that's something that can be addressed later. So as I said, I wanted to
Okay,
tell you publicly.
thank
Are we
you.
public or not?
We
Yeah.
are,
All right,
yeah, we're
okay.
not, thank you, Mr. Coletta, I appreciate that, and I do just wanna reiterate too that, you know, nothing, it's a best practice and nothing underhanded happened, but I appreciate that. Okay, so can I have a motion, we did the motion, right? It was moved by, oh, okay, so moved by Mr. Coletta, seconded by Ms. Quadrado,
Favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, see you in July.